My family had a backup plan, including a venue and caterer on standby. Hey guys, welcome back to another week of me reacting to your wedding stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. Before we get started today, we have a very crazy story, so just wait for it. I have something very excited to share with you. It's my very first proof of Here Comes the Drama, my book coming out on June 12th. I've been going through it and reading it just to make sure there's no little mistakes that we missed along the way, but this has just been so exciting and fun for me to read. So this is essentially what it'll look like. We're making some small changes to it still, but if you get the print version, which again, like I said, is coming out June 12th, it'll essentially look like this. So it's about 200 pages, 30 chapters, 6 parts, and a lot of crazy drama. So I'm very excited to share that with you guys. Okay, like I said, let's just jump right into the story. We've got a crazy one for you today. I've not read it, but let's get into it. All right, mine is a drama that turned into a success story. For the brides out there going through the chaos, there is light on the other side. I love when we get stories like this because I feel like there's so much negative drama that stresses brides out or people out, and they're like, just throw the whole thing away. Just don't do it. Just go elope. And I want people to know there are so many positive stories. And a lot of times, if you keep a level head, we can get through the drama or through the muck together. Okay, it says, we asked my in-laws to be in charge of the rehearsal dinner per tradition, since my parents were helping with most of the wedding day costs. While my family does have a bit more money, it's not a huge amount. They're simply better at saving and planning ahead. And they had known the wedding was coming for years. My husband and I have been together for over a decade. We decided we wanted more of a welcome party, a backyard barbecue, and a relaxed vibe instead of a formal sit-down dinner at a traditional venue. Most of our guests were traveling in for the wedding, and we wanted to do something special to say thank you and include them for being there for more than just a ceremony. But again, the goal was relaxed and informal. I love that. I love when couples just know from the get-go, this is what we want. Let's be a little different and just really feed into what we want for ourselves. My in-laws have a huge immediate family, and they plan to rent an Airbnb with 5 to 6 bedrooms so everyone could stay together and split the cost. So this was great. I asked if, since they'd be staying together, they'd be okay with me finding the Airbnb. This way I could make sure it allowed events so we could have a large family gathering there. That way, they wouldn't need to worry about booking a separate venue or covering extra costs. So this sounds really smart, just to like have it all at one place. If there's a big yard, just have a backyard barbecue. I know with Airbnb, depending on where it is though, and again, I might be jumping the gun, there are some different rules. Like you can't have big gatherings, you can't have parties, or in certain neighborhoods don't even want like more than a certain amount of people there. So there's definitely a lot when it comes to Airbnb. They don't necessarily want you throwing private parties. I found several excellent properties with great reviews and within budget, then forwarded them to my mother-in-law. 1 month went by, nothing. 2 months, still nothing. I kept checking the availability of the houses and watched them disappear one by one. Finally, a month and a half out from the wedding. Okay, and I've talked about this before, and it's not to blame the bride, but this is just me being type A, and hence why I've done wedding planning and stuff. I could never leave that in someone else's hands. I would have to be like, you know what, I'm just going to book at a venue at this point because I don't want to wait for someone else because other people have things going on. It's not going to be at the forefront of their mind. It's your wedding. It's your responsibility ultimately. Like for us, even though we had help at both the wedding and rehearsal, I talked with the restaurant for the rehearsal dinner. I booked it. I signed the contract, all that stuff because I'm a type A. No, just because I wanted to make sure it was done. I didn't want to put the responsibility on someone else as well. Finally, a month and a half out from the wedding, I was panicked, upset, and frankly angry. I decided not to take over or fix it. This was the only thing they were responsible for, and I felt deeply let down. I'm confused, like if the parents just didn't respond at all, like they weren't talking to them at all these last couple of months, or if they would just like blow over the fact that they were asked about this, or just completely not responding. Because I would be like, wait, they're not talking to us at all. Let's figure something out. Like, why aren't they talking to us? Should we show up to their house? Should we give them a call? What's not going on? Like something's like missing here, I feel like. I was especially angry for my husband's sake. He was a wreck and felt horrible that things weren't working out, while my family was now covering nearly everything. What I didn't know was at the time, my family had a backup plan, including a venue and caterer on standby. Oh my gosh. So either they just didn't trust them to begin with, or they wanted their own thing. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's great that they had it, but I'm like, oh, what if the in-laws did come through and they're like now have two places? I found out later and was so thankful they had put in even more effort behind the scenes to make sure there weren't any hiccups. Something tells me there was already some kind of, I don't know if animosity is the right word, some kind of confusion or things weren't going too well if her family was like, you know what, we're going to book something anyways because we don't trust them. Then, just 1 month before the wedding, my mother in law called me out of the blue. Okay, I'm ready to book the Airbnb. Which one did you like best? No, 1 month. So, this also sounds like someone that either hasn't booked a lot of things or planned a lot of things and maybe needed some guidance. Again, I'm not knocking the bride. I only have so much of the story, but like I would never leave that in someone else's hands. I would be like, you know what? If you want to help later, that's absolutely fine. We're going to take care of this. That's stressful on the bride. I'm ultimately thinking of the bride here, how stressful it is to not know if you have a venue or anything. By this point, not a single one was still available, and the options were slim. She eventually got my sister-in-law on the phone, and we spent hours searching for something that would work. Bless my sister-in-law not only for keeping her mom focused, but also for telling her during that very call that this mess was entirely her own fault. Yikes. I don't know why I feel so mixed about this. Yes, it was her responsibility. Yes, she's an adult. And yes, you should be able to trust in someone doing that. But I would be like, if something is falling through, we got to be there to grab it. We got to be there to pick it up. I just heard a story yesterday. I actually read it. It's coming out in a podcast episode. So I don't want to say too much. But the bride was essentially like, I don't want to plan a wedding, and left it up to her wedding party and then blamed them when things weren't coming through the way that she wanted. And it's like, you're ultimately the host of the party. So even if someone says, like, let me help with this, we still need to be checking in on those people. And if they're falling through the cracks or they're not responding, then we need to pick it back up. Unfortunately, it's like a group project, but you're like the leader of the group, right? I wasn't brave enough to say that myself, but she had all of our backs. Long story short, my mother-in-law booted her mother out of the planning chair once she realized nothing had been done and went on to plan an amazing backyard barbecue, welcome party, and bonfire. Our wedding was in December. Well, that's an amazing sister-in-law, just to be like, you know what? I'm going to take control here. Where was she though until this point? I don't know. I'm always wondering, like, in those murky waters beforehand, what was happening? Was there no response? Like, where was everyone at that point? I'm so confused why they waited till a month before. Oh my gosh, I'm like stressed reading this. And so what did they do about the backup family plan? They had a venue and a caterer on standby. And this is just me blabbing right now. What kind of venue would just be like, yeah, you just let us know. We can hold a contract here for you and then cancel if you don't need it. I mean, maybe it happens. She said it was everything we wanted, relaxed, warm, joyful, and fun. On the day of, my mother-in-law acted like it was all her doing. Ooh, okay. That would bother me. But my husband and I made sure to give a speech and thank his sister for all the time and effort into making our day so special. Drama with a happy ending. Okay, I love how that turned out. I love how everyone came together. Almost everyone came together. The sister-in-law really took one for the team and was like, let's make this happen. Let's do it. That's stressful. It's stressful when you put something in the hands of someone else to help out with, but I'm glad everything worked out for the better. And it sounds like it was an amazing wedding. Everything you wanted and more. It's also a reminder to people listening that, like, and maybe this is why I'm the way I am, is you have to really like trust the person you're giving a project to. And if you feel they're faltering or dropping the ball at any moment, we gotta take it back and be like, you know what? I got it from here. Why don't you help me pick out decorations or something? Because like I said, if it's not their wedding, it's not gonna be at the forefront of their mind. If they're not a big planner, they're not gonna be thinking of it, and they're gonna be like, a month out, plenty of time. But depending on the location, Airbnbs book out really fast. So, all right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. As a reminder, my book, Here Comes the Drama, A Ferris Sloan Story, comes out June 12th. Currently, you can pre-order it as an ebook on Kindle. There's only pre-orders for the ebook. We also have it on Kobo and hopefully Apple soon. We'll keep updating you. As long as you're on my email list, you'll get all the updates and links and all that good stuff. But June 12th for the print, and I cannot wait for you guys to read it. Bye now.